Hi friends, this is Caitlin. I'm so happy to be back here with you with Pink and Main. We are going to be making a really fun winter snowman themed card. We did not get to play with the Snowman Friend Dies yet. So I thought that would be a fun one for us to use. Donna did use them during sneak peek week, but you know, me and her have different styles. And so I want you to be able to see multiple options on how to use these. So we're going to be coloring ours up with some Olos. We're also going to be ink blending a background. I also have some colored cardstock. So it's going to be a fun mix of different things. We're also going to be doing some Emboss-Resist. So that should be fun for the background. But I do want to take a second to say hi to everybody before we jump in while we're waiting for everyone to get here. So I did see Gail's here, Susan, I see Mom, I see Kelly's here, Lori's here, and Helene. I see Queenie. I feel like I should know that dog profile picture by now, but it's coming up as Queenie. I see Miss Virginia is here. I see Connie. Let's see. Hello to Melissa. Hello to Sharon checking in with us. Let's see. I see Miss Judy. I see Jody checking in from Iowa. Welcome, welcome. Someone said Arizona earlier, and I just want to make sure that I didn't. That's Angela. Hey, Angela. All right. Okay, so like I said, the main feature of our card is going to be the Snowman Friend Dies. And then the Emboss-Resist, I want to play with these snowflakes from the Winter Spotlight sayings because we've used two of the sentiments, but not the snowflakes. And then we'll borrow one of these sentiments as well for our card. I grabbed the wave and scallop borders to make some snowy ground. And then we have white cardstock, the ice rink, we have coffee shop, and we have stop sign red. I thought those would be some pretty classic, easy base colors for our snowman. So I think what I want to do first is die cut our snowman pieces, because then we can figure out how much sky versus ground we're gonna need. And then that'll determine where and how many of our snowflakes we stamp to heat emboss. So I'm kind of working like backwards. Let's see. Oh, Angela, because you're in Arizona, right? You guys don't change times there. I completely forgot about that. But I'm glad that you found us. I see Julie's checking in too, jumping in. All right. Let's see. Your set would come like wrapped in packaging like normal. Mine is not because to save on plastic and packaging. But I'm going to pop into Pink and Main's website and pull up these snowmen so that we can get an idea of all of our little piece options here. Okay, there we go. So it looks like I definitely want to do a scarf. And so we're going to need that part goes around the neck. And then it looks like this part is what comes down in the front. So we're going to need both of those. I think I'm kind of leaning, I pretty much want to do this, right? The top hat, mittens, and scarf guy, kind of like a very traditional snowman. I think that's the vibe. So we have our top hat, we have our hat band, we have facial features, we have, I really don't think I want mine to have blush today, so we'll skip blush. Oh, that, and then this looks like it's the knot that goes on the scarf. So that's good to have that ready. We need some arms. We're going to do those out of our coffee. Oh, I see a bunch of people just popped in. Yay, you made it! Karen, welcome! And I see Judy's checking in. Oh yeah, Judy, we're gonna use them to cheat and make wavy ground. Lots of wavy ground hills that we're gonna put glitter on to make them look snowy. I saw Denise jumped in too. And Deanne's here. Dee's here. Perfect. Okay. So those are buttons, eyes, mouth. We do need a carrot nose. And I do think I like this holly situation. So let's grab that. Is that everything that I need? What is this perfect circle for? Oh, the little pom-pom on the end of the other hat. Okay, I think that's everything. So we're going to put that to the side. How's everybody's week going so far? How was your weekend? How was your Halloween? Have some coffee, shop. We only need a little bit of that. We'll just go ahead and pre-cut that out. Oh, it looks like Raquel popped in and I missed her. Okay, and the scarf I want red, and the mittens I want red. I guess the holly we might as well make red too. And then everything else we will color on white. Oh, and I guess it would help if we grabbed our snowman. Huh. Probably would be a good idea. Oh, and his hat band red. Yeah. Like that. Okay, we'll save this because we're going to need it for our background. Just pop that to the side. Julie, I hear you on that one. It is only Tuesday, and it has definitely already been a long week over here as well. I'm on some new medication, and the #1 side effect is insomnia. So I was up to a casual 3 or 3:30 a.m. last night. So fun. I love like not sleeping. Hopefully that settles out over some time while my body adjusts. But yeah, so it's been a long day. It's been a long day. We had a great Halloween. The kids had a lot of fun. They have way too much candy. Ugh, snow. No, 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 no. No. No snow, no thank you. And you guys are south of me, so that's not looking good for me. All right, I'm just going to use some washi to hold these down. That one slid. Get back over there. There we go. Okay, we probably don't need to tape that down. It's pretty contained, I think. And normally I would be doing the Stamp and Die of the month and then the foil of the month, but I don't have them yet. So as soon as I get them, we will use them. But I figured in the meantime, it would be better to finish up at least our like first time through with all of our new stuff from October. All right, let me die cut these really quick. Popping them in my Sizzix Big Shot. And I had an issue yesterday with some old ink transferring onto my white cardstock. So I'm going to put in a little piece of printer paper to protect my snowman. If that ever happens to you, just know you have that as like a good backup. Oh yeah, I might have flipped it upside down. Look at all that. That's all like dirt. Definitely something wrong. I'm gonna have to like wash it or something. That's not normal. It wasn't doing that before. Okay, so we have our hat. I'm gonna keep the back like reverse part of my paper, especially for all of these little bits. I can pop them back into place to make it easier to color. Oh my goodness, Connie said she had so many kids come to her house on Halloween she ran out of candy. I feel like, Connie, that is the better problem to have, because I've also heard a ton of people saying that they had like no kids come through where they normally do, and people are like worried that, you know, like the death of Halloween. But I think that's just like a neighborhood thing. Like if that's an issue, I think that's I don't know. But I can imagine that having so many kids that you run out early would also be very stressful. Trying to make sure all the kids are having fun. It was so windy here. As soon as we got to our friend, like our my cousin-in-law, I guess, as soon as we got to their house, I immediately just put a hoodie on over my costume, because one, I was not very comfortable in it anyway, but two, it was so cold. It's just crazy, because some years we're like sweating on Halloween, and then one year it was like flurrying, and then this year was like crazy winds. You just never can tell. You can't guess what it's going to be. Oh, Gail, that's perfect. Oh, Julie. Oh. Is 5 and over all of those years still enough of a reason to buy the candy, though, just in case? And then you just get to eat whatever's left? Sorry if you can hear that. My dog just decided she is dying of thirst. Okay, I think the hat and the snowman we can handle without them being in their paper backers. So we'll leave those out. I already took out the arms. Let's see. Oh, look, everything stayed in nicely besides our holly. Oh, that's so cute. I love that, Julie, making up stuff for coworkers' kids. Oh, yeah. Helene made a good point. It all depends on if there's trunk or treat or things, too. We always get candy just in case. I like here, I feel like the school has a trunk or treat the Saturday before, but it feels more like it's just an extra day for the kids to get to hang out because they don't get to wear like their costumes at school. And then this year they weren't even in school on Halloween. They were off that day. So it more feels like it's like the Halloween party kind of thing versus like a trunk or treat that like would replace trick or treat. But I know for where my dad lives in Pennsylvania, over near Pittsburgh, with the hills and how the neighborhoods are set up, it's just really hard for them to trick or treat. So the trunk or treat usually does replace, or the towns will have like the Saturday before, they'll do a daytime true trick or treat, like house to house, but on a Saturday during the day. And like I want to be like a Halloween trick or treat purist, but also like if that's what keeps everybody safe, it's better than no trick or treat, right? I don't know. I guess it all depends really on where you are. Stop. We do a trunk or treat, yeah. Okay. Pop these in. Pop that little guy in. And then we are good to start our coloring and assembly. All right, so now that Halloween is over, we can finally really start talking about Christmas and the holidays. So I need to know, I know people have been making Christmas cards, some of you guys all year. I know that part already. But who is already like well into their Christmas gift shopping? That's what I need to know. Because I feel like every year I'm like, I'm going to start shopping early. And then I don't. I don't do that. And I always am kicking myself for not starting earlier. Where are my early shoppers at? I did not see. I am so reliant on the outlines. I can't get those to fit back wherever they were. Okay, for our sky, we're going to be using a purple and light blue combo for our inks. So I'm going to use the same kind of colors on our snowman that will help it look like the snow is just reflecting the color from the sky. So we're going to come in with a light BV and a very light blue. Just kidding, just kidding. Those are the wrong markers. Hold on. Still the same thing. We're coming in with a BV, and oh, that's a good one. These might be good both. Hold on. I think I want these and then our light blue. Okay, so I cut these out of our ice rink cardstock, and I'm going to come in with my B first, B 0.3, and we're going to just start adding in some shading on the curves of our snowman. They don't need to be like equal. I'm not looking for symmetry. I kind of prefer when they're not symmetrical, because if you've ever built a snowman, you know that the chances of them being like perfectly round are in fact very slim. Oh, Julie started her shopping today. Love that. I need to get on it. Like, it's on my radar, but also like just trying to get back into normal life right now after all of our craziness in October. All right, so we'd be 0.3 first, then we're coming in with 0.2, and I'm putting that on either side of my darker blue because I really left a pretty big gap there between our blue and the edge. Then I'm going to come in with a little bit of BV 4.2 and add just like a little hint of purple to some of the outer sections of our shadow here. But you can see I'm not pulling it the whole way up. There you go. There you can see it. Right, so it's just like a little down here, a little up here. Okay. Then we can go back in one more time with our 0.2 and kind of use that to blend out. I think I'm gonna also give a little mini line here in between each of those sections, only with that lightest color. I'm not gonna worry about going over it with everything. And then I'm gonna bring in my 0 and I'm gonna tap on the edges, swipe over those inner edges only of my marker just to make sure that it has a softer ending into our white. And once we put this on our sky and our like little snowy background, we'll use some of these same colors to make our like snow hills. This will still look very white, but it'll look like that frosty winter snowy white. So that's our snowman. I'm going to pull those markers back out so that I don't forget when we need them for our hill. For our top hat, we're going to need some cool grays and a black. I'm going to start with BK. I'm going to assume that is black. I should really figure out what these... Some of them just have like, this is just K. I don't know what K is. I got to figure that out so I can tell you guys. All right, so that's going to be our darkest shadow. Still leaving a little bit of a gap between that left side and the edge of the paper. This wouldn't have a super high shine. I just like the idea of helping it look really rounded. Okay, well, I wasn't anticipating this, but the C9 actually seems to be a little darker than that first marker. So we're going to jump down to C7. Start pulling in a lot of shadow on the left versus just a little thickening over there on the right. It doesn't have to be that side. You can switch it out and do the other side if you want. There's no wrong. And we've talked about before that these cool grays pull a little on the purple side, but for this snowy purple and blue scene, I thought that would be very fitting. Olo does have those neutral grays coming, and so if that's a concern, the neutral grays would probably give you a very good effect as well. I want a little bit more of that darkness, so I'm going to come back in with that C7 one more time. That C5 really pulled that out a lot more than I thought it would. But that's okay, because we can layer these up however we need. She said, everybody just wants money. Hi, Damari. How are you? Yeah, my girls are at the age where they're very picky, but they won't, well, One of them will tell me exactly what she wants in exacting detail. And the other one has no idea what she wants. Ever. That girl's just winging it. She don't know. All right, I did the buttons, the eyes, and the mouth all just plain black. We're gonna come in with our, I don't even know what marker I did that with. Hopefully it was the right one. I'm gonna come in with OR 1.3 for our carrot. He's gonna face to the right since we did our shadows on the left. So we'll put the bottom so that it's facing the right. So that was a OR 1.3 and 1.2. Just for a little shading there, a little something to it. I think for my green, I want like a very classic Christmas green. So I'm thinking G 1.7, and our holly berries are going to go on top of this. So I think we can just shade the whole thing in green. Stop it, or you're going in the other room. Talking to the dog, not a person. Don't worry. All right, and then G 1.5. That looks like a very traditional Christmassy green to me. Julie, my version of the wish books would definitely have been like the toys. What was the toy store? Oh my God, Toys R Us always had like a crazy book. All right, those are gonna be his little twiggy arms. I don't know that this is really even gonna show up great, but I'm gonna add a little bit of this RG7 to kind of the armpit and the bottom part of the fingers. Just so when everything's together, you can see that there's like a little something there. Let me see if you guys can even see it. Right, you can see there's like a little, maybe, a little tiny touch. You just skip that part if you didn't want to worry about it. But I think when you see it all together, it will blend it in with everything else more nicely. Okay, let's come in with some deep dark reds. And we might even need, yeah, that's really dark. That's what I want. We're gonna come in with some R 1.8. Oh, good, Helene. It does help, thank you. She's licking her tootsies, her little toes, driving me nuts. Can you hear the train? If it's not the dog, it's probably the train. All right, so for those little holly berries, I am kind of just making as if there's 3 separate ones there that we just like can't see. I'm just kind of connecting those circles together. Okay, our scarf is going to, see now these are all spun around. Let's see, this goes like that. So I'm gonna pull in these little fold marks that are here on the sides for us, and then add some shading over on that left side. This means that this is gonna be pointing up. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of shading here on the outer sections of that. We'll come back to the mittens I think that's as far ahead as I want to work. A little touch of that 1.7. Same thing here, start pulling that color out. Oh, and I totally skipped this guy. That's okay, he's in the front. That's gonna get covered anyway. Okay. And then our 1.5. And again, just kind of layering and pulling that color out a little bit. We're leaving our cardstock color as our highlight. Okay, we'll come in with a little bit of 0 here in a minute to make sure that that, again, has that very smooth transition that we want. The holly will just fill in because I already put a whole lot of dark on there. And the thing to keep in mind is that these are going to get a little bit lighter as they dry, as that alcohol works its way out. So we're going to come back in with that 0. 0 doesn't make it white, it's clear. So that's going to help mesh all of that into our cardstock. And then I'm going to come over to a blank piece and make sure that there's no red left over in my 0. Okay. Now I'm going to skip my darkest for the gloves because there's just not as much room. I wish I had skipped the darkest on my holly berries too, but it is what it is now, and I don't feel like redoing them. So I'm going to add a little bit of shading where the thumb line is, and then just a little bit on the outer edges. There's like an extra one here. I'm going to guess that's for one of the ones that are holding something. And you know what? I'm going to add the little cuff with our markers so I don't even have to put the cuff on there. And then our hat band, I'm just going to come in with the 1.5 because again, there's just not a lot of room there. Oh no, Sherry, I'm so sorry. I'm glad that you're here with us tonight. Hopefully we can be a happy distraction for you, and you know we're all sending you the best thoughts and prayers. And yeah, hopefully we can be a little bright spot. I feel like our little corner of the world is really going through it this year, guys. And I'm just so grateful that you're here and that we all were brought together in this way by whatever, whoever. That part to me doesn't matter, but the fact that we're all here is pretty cool. All right, let's assemble our little snowman. So I'm going to start with the arms. That seems like an easy place to begin. I'm going to put the little top part of the arm on the outside of the snowman. I guess you could tuck it under if you wanted. There we go. But I like that look that you can like see them coming out. Let's figure out this scarf, shall we? So this, I guess you could really do it either way. Then it kind of looks like a bow. So I guess I see the like reasoning behind it. I did that coloring a little backwards for what's actually showing, but that's okay. It's still gonna look pretty. Let's pop our little knot on top. Love that. And that's the other reason I didn't want to overly worry about like those center shading spots, because I figured there was a good chance it was going to get covered up by the scarf anyway. There we go. We need our little hat band. When in doubt, use your embellishment wand or tweezers. Oh, I wasn't thinking about that. I kind of like, no, the gloves are cute. I like the hands, the stick hands though, I do. But the gloves are pretty cute. All right, thumbs down, I suppose. Although if my kids made it, it would definitely not be, it would not be on the right hands. I just know in my gut that that's true. We'll add our little holly. Okay, that was rude. Get back on there. There we go. And then buttons. Peel that washi off. These little itty bitty pieces are a little fiddly. I will give you that, but this is a way easier die set, in my opinion, to assemble than like the houses or some of the other, you know, real little guys that we've had this past year. I'm not gluing down the hat yet. I just want a guide for where our eyes and mouth need to go. Oh my God, isn't he so cute? Oh, now he's a sad snowman. Don't be sad. I kind of like him without the mouth too. Oh my gosh, isn't he so cute? Do I want him without a mouth? No, I like him with the mouth, but the without the mouth is also very cute. I like him without the gloves and without the mouth if you like a more simple look. You could totally do that with this guy. Okay, let's get his little nose in its spot. These eyes, maybe. Yeah. He's cute. So with the hat tilted and his face kind of, his nose and his eyes kind of angled like that, we get that idea that he's kind of looking up. I love that, like he's looking at the snow. We are going to add glitter to our hills, and we might add a little glitter to him too. But for now, that's all I needed to be able to figure out the rest of the layout of our card. So let's jump over to that. I'm going to trim down the rest of my Ice Rink cardstock to 5.5 by 4.25, but you already know we're probably going to put this on a mat, so I should just trim it down now. So let's go 4 by 5.25, and we're probably going to put either black or red behind him because I know me, I am pretty self-aware. Okay, and then I'm going to cut one more panel down to also be 4 across. Okay, I'm going to save our last piece for another whatever project. And then with this second one that we cut, we're going to use 2 of our stitched wave pieces. And that's going to give us 3 hills that we can play with. We might only use 2. You could only do 1 if you wanted. You could do only 1, I guess I should say, if you wanted. But I find that 3 is a pretty safe amount to have ready to go. So I'm going to cut these. And the cool thing is with these dies specifically, you get stitching on both sides. So it's nice that it gives us a little more of an option. I always have to remember that I have to turn these ones sideways to put them through the machine. I'll show you what I mean in a second about the stitch lines though. Okay. So with a lot of stitched dies, you get the stitching just on one edge. But for these, because it's on both, now we can use this hill this way or this way, and it'll have stitching no matter what. So now we can kind of play around and figure out which hills we want. We've got some good options. Don't want the same. That's pretty good. All right, so if that ends up being our ground, how does our snowman look on it? Pretty cute. And then our sentiment could go here. Maybe snowflakes would go up here. Our sentiment could probably go down here though. And that would still be adorable. So yeah, I feel like that height is pretty good. Maybe just like a little bit more. Like that. I like that. Okay, I'm going to temporarily tape these from the back with some washi. And we're going to come in with our distress inks. Is everyone singing now? So I'm going to start actually with my shaded lilac because that's going to look like a deeper shadow. Okay, and we're going to come up from the bottom and the outer edges. Very light-handed with this, making sure that I'm really hitting the sides of the cardstock. That's what I want. I want this to mostly just catch on those outer edges. Okay, we're gonna do this front part first, and then we're gonna fold it back and take care of the panel behind. So we're just focusing on this layer first for now. Okay, so that's just giving like a hint of that purple. Then I'm gonna come in with tumbled glass. We're gonna go right over that, but we're gonna bring it a little higher. And this might look, well, on camera, it doesn't look like a ton of color. In person, it looks like a lot of color. But again, once you see it with the snowman and the glitter and everything else, your eyes will tell you that it's white snow and that it's the sky like reflecting back. Okay, so that's our starting point for that. Now, because I continued my ink up on the edges there, see, it's in the shadow, you can see it. When I fold this back to hinge it, I have a little guide. It's not perfect, but I have a little guide of where my hill is going to be seen on this one. So this is the back of this now underneath, so it doesn't matter what we do there. I'm going to come in with my shaded lilac again first. And we're basically building in a shadow that's going to show underneath the that first hill, because there would be darkness between them, between the two hills. And if you want to see how it's looking, you can just fold this back up. Right, so that's, you can see we're starting to get that little bit of a shadow there. That's perfect. We'll switch back over to our tumbled glass. And the important part is just that that very top edge stays white. There we go. Okay, love that. And if I want to make sure that I'm putting them back in the same spot, I'm going to split them up in a minute to put that. Actually, no, we don't need to. It's fine. We're going to glitter them now. I don't mind if the glitter goes under the snowman. So some of it's, I'm putting my glue under the stitch lines to try to preserve those as much as I can, but I'm also not gonna freak out if they get covered. I just think it's a cute accent, so I'd rather not cover it if I don't have to. But just a thin line there, and then we're gonna come in with chunky glitter, our Stardust chunky glitter tonight. It's finally time. I can bring her back out. You can use her all year, but I feel like I really use her the most in the winter, Christmas time. Okay, we'll give that a tap. This is a beautiful, chunky, very round, iridescent glitter. And from that ink blending, this is a little wet. Once it's fully dried, we'll come in with a brush and just tap it off a little extra. And then we missed a spot there, but that's okay because that's where our snowman's gonna go anyway. Oh, this is so pretty. Okay, we'll set that aside to dry. And I do think I want to add just a little bit to Snowman now. A little on his face. And just a little touch. I'm doing way thinner lines on him because like I said, I don't want it to take away. See, because he's not wet, that extra glitter just taps right off of him. That's how it'll be with our... So he just gets like a little hint of sparkle. And that'll help tie him into that, that background, those little snowy hills. Okay, now the last thing is our sky, which is our Emboss-Resist. We're doing pretty good on time. I think we can still wrap this up in about an hour. So I am gonna hold this here just for a second to kind of get an idea of where this is going. I'm gonna mark this with my pokey tool. Will I? Yeah, I can kind of see that. So I don't have to worry about lead or anything, but just as a guide so I know where to start my shading. And we're gonna do the same thing, but kind of all the way around, making a vignette. So I'm gonna come through here to give myself a starting point where I have my scratch. You can tell shaded lilac is not a color I use very often. Okay, then I'm gonna come around like we did on the bottom, but just on those outer edges for this color again. Just rotating it around, making that vignette frame. I highly encourage you, if you are not used to doing colorful snow, to really try it out this year. It can feel weird to add so much color into your snow, but we've done like pink and like bright purpley, like RVs and pink snow. As long as you're tying it in with your sky. Okay, so apparently we're not doing Emboss-Resist. We'll just do regular emboss. Oh, goodness. Sorry, guys. I was going to stamp it first, but that's okay. Because we're going to use white embossing powder anyway. So it'll be fine. Everything's fine. All right, so that's going to be our wintry sky. And so you can see it's just a little bit darker, a little bit more filled in. And that will also help all of this to read as just white. White snow. Yeah, Julie, this is just a little like pokey, pointy. I think it's technically like a clay tool from the Dollar Tree. But I use it just to make a little scratch. You could also just use a pencil. I just didn't see mine in the cup of things where it's supposed to be. Okay. The reason that Emboss-Resist would have been nice is because the same way our glitter is sticking to our wet inky cardstock, our embossing powder is going to stick to, is going to want to stick to anyway, our cardstock. So we're just going to have to make sure we like super anti-static powder this. But also if some white gets here or there, it's snow. It'll be okay. It'll be fine. So I'm grabbing those snowflakes from the, what are you? Winter Spotlight Sayings. And I do want some of them to come off of the edge on both sides. So I need a piece of cardstock that I'm going to use as a bumper. Just still pushing them all right up into that corner. kind of keeping in mind where he's going to be. So that looks nice, I think. We'll pick them up now while I don't have anti-static powder all over everything yet. That'll help to not gunk up my stamps. But we're really gonna do our best to powder this guy up. You could also try to dry it with your heating tool as well, but I don't usually do that, so I don't want to start now and make you guys think that's a thing that I do. Then I'm going to come in with, I guess this can go away now. We ink blended it. Then I'm going to come in with my Emboss watermark ink. And we'll do that twice. Make sure that ink can really saturate through that anti-static powder. Grab my always helpful white printer paper. I think we've been going on the same one for like 2 months now, guys. We're just over here saving trees, trying to make up for all this card stuff I'm making. And we're gonna pour our embossing powder over it. Okay, so the bad news is that I didn't use enough anti-static powder like around, but the cool news is I think it's gonna look like frost. See how it's like just on the edges and kind of like wraps? I think that looks pretty cool. I'm kind of hoping some more will stick on this side. Yeah, I think that looks really cool. So happy accidents for us. A true Bob Ross moment. I think he would be proud. And let's heat this up. I'm gonna mute so I can melt this. It would probably help if I plugged it in first. Hey, Shayna. Okay, now I'm gonna mute. It looks so cool. It's not very strong, the little extra bits, but it does look like little frosty flurries. And I love it. So if you don't want to have to worry about that, I would recommend doing a true heat emboss. And now, honestly, I might come back in with a little more color now that I see it. So we'll end up doing a little bit. Whoop. Oh, Shanna, I'm so sorry. Rough dentist is the worst. All right, so now I can come back in with a little bit more of my tumbled glass ink. over those snowflakes, because that's, you can see that that's going to make that white pop even brighter. And the embossing ink, or the, sorry, embossing powder that we melted is going to resist that color and it's going to stay white. So I'm not going to go crazy, but that little bit of extra pop just increases that contrast for us. We can come in with a little microfiber moment, wipe off a little bit of that extra ink. So good. Okay. I think red background is going to be too much. So I think we're going to go with black. I think the black matte will be nice. Still give us a really pretty and strong frame without taking away from all of those colors that we just put in. I think the red is nice as an accent, but I think it would be too much for a whole frame for me. If you are a red girly, you put red on whatever you want. Or a red person, I should say. We don't have a ton of boys, but we do have some boys. This warped a little bit. So I'm going to use, it warped from the heat tool. It happens. Nothing like wrong or crazy, just part of using heat on paper. So I'm going to come in with some Easy Tear tape because it's really strong and it will help flatten out this panel to our asphalt cardstock. I feel like waiting for a rough dentist appointment is the worst. Because it's like, not only are you still going to have to sit through it, but you're also worrying about it ahead of time. So it's like double the pain. Okay. See that little frame? I'm just, you guys know I'm obsessed. All right, I'm going to come in with a paintbrush. You look pretty soft. And I'm doing this over my floor. Don't be mad at me. But see, you can just dust off that extra. So easy. Easy peasy. I put this on just the slightest bit crookedy. I want to pop up our snowman, so I'm not going to worry about popping up these levels. That feels like too much pop. I can still see the little demarcation line there and up here on the side. So let's get those lined up so our edges are nice and flat. Just like the littlest bit off. There we go. Not anymore. And then without pushing down or trying to slide this around a lot, because that glue is, or that glitter is still drying a little bit, we'll just pop some liquid glue on there. Get this lined up on the bottom and then check it side to side. I don't care. It's winter. It's Christmas. I don't care. In my head, it's Christmas. Once Halloween's over, it's Christmas. So I don't care if there's glitter all over my house. I really don't. Look how cute. All right. I'm not gonna glue him down yet because we have one thing left. We gotta fin. So much fun. Does that fit? I think we go Frosty Fun, right? Because he's like Frosty. Weren't we singing Frosty the Snowman a couple minutes ago? I'm just gonna stamp this because it feels easier than worrying about die cutting it. That feels like it's not needed. We have that white space already on our card. Seems like we should just fill it. Still just holding my snowman in here for general spacing. Okay, now we gotta go for, is it straight? Sorry if my head pops in, guys. It does look pretty straight. Okay, and I think we go to start at least with a matching blue. So let's see how this goes. Never, ever, ever stamp something you want to be legible in distress ink with a block, with a stamping block. It is not made for stamping, and it does not tend to look nice on the first go. It will be patchy, but we can build it up. I think I want like a little touch of purple. I'm just tapping the outer, like the edge of our shaded lilac on the upper and lower. Right? Look how cute. It's been a minute since we did an ombre stamping. Frosty Fun. So I stamped the sentiment, 2 times with the tumble glass, and then used just the edge of the stamp pad to stamp out around the edges of the actual stamp. Ink pad, I guess, is what I should say. And then we need some foam. Diane, I would only ever do it with a stamping tool. If you, well, that's not true. I was going to say, if you told me I had to do it free stamping, I would laugh in your face, but I've done it a couple times this year just to see what would happen. And usually it ends up okay. But yeah, I generally would only stamp directly on the card like that with a stamping tool. Me and freehand stamping don't tend to get along super well. All right, so I'm doing a terrible job at trimming foam for these little mittens. Come on, man, we were doing so good. I was on a roll. Okay. Where's my pokey? Sorry, I'm trying to balance out how close I can get, but also where his little left mitten is going to line up. Slash if I can tuck it down a little. There we go. How cute. So I'm so sorry. There's one final thing. If you know me, you might be able to guess. I don't like that he's just, I mean, I know I popped him up so he's floating, but I don't like that he's just floating in space. So I'm going to come in with the same bees that we used, and I'm going to add a little of our 0.3 right under him and pull that down and out on either side with our 0.2 and then our 0. Just so he has a little shadow. He has a little space where he's living on this snow. And that, to me, finishes it off. I feel like the light is not doing him justice. There we go. There you can see it a little bit better. How stinking cute. I'm glad that we got a chance to come back and play with these dies. I think this turned out so cute. Denise, my glass mat is magnetic. I don't use it with magnets. The only magnet I have is the one that stays in my Misty, and I'm too scared to lose it. So this is a magnetic glass mat, but I don't generally use it that way. It's more about having a clean-ish background, or a background that's easier to clean for me when I'm on here with you guys. And the measurement part is nice. So yeah, that is our super cute little winter card. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I know this one ran over a little bit, but we did do quite a few different techniques. So hopefully it got you inspired. Hopefully it helps you remember that you can have happy accidents. So if something starts to go awry, don't give up on it. There's a chance that it could still work out great. So I will be back here with you guys on Thursday. If I have the Stampin' Die of the Month, we will play with them then. If I don't, I will figure something else out. And if you have requests, you guys know you can always put them in the comments for me. I'll go back and check. But yeah, I hope that you guys have a great day tomorrow. I'll see you back here soon. And until next time, happy crafting, guys. Have a great night.